Hey guys, what's going on? It's Tony here, and it's time for the PV Preseason 4 update. So I'm gonna put this into sections. So this section will be the mastery page. Next section will be on different items, and last one will be on different skins and champion updates. So first, without further ado, here is the new mastery page. I haven't read it through before. We're gonna go through it now, one by one. Let's start off with defensive. So each time you kill a unit, you restore 2 health and 1 mana. This is called Feast. Actually, that's pretty cool. I probably went there. Next is Fury. As usual, you get 1% attack speed. Sorcery grants you 1.25% cooldown reduction. And Butcher, of course, basic attacks and single target spells do an additional 2 damage to minions and monsters. Alright, so that's pretty good. It does not trigger, however, on overtime effects or even area effect damage abilities. Alright, so if we put one into there, and into there, we unlock the next batch. Double-edged swords. If you're a melee champion, it deals an additional 2% damage and receive an additional 1% damage. So this lets you do more damage, but you take more damage. And ranged champions deal and receive additional 1.5% damage. So this would be, it's sort of like, yeah, a double-edged sword, pretty much. If you're going to use this, I'd suggest you use lifesteal with it in order to be very effective. Brute force. 4 plus attack damage per level. Okay, so that's just obvious. Oh, 4 plus attack damage at level 18. And then mental force, 6 ability power at level 18. So that's pretty good. Now we put 3 into those, and we got 1 to that. Soul weaving. Damaging an enemy champion with an auto attack increases your spell damage by 1%, stacking up to 3 times max 3% damage increase. So this is very good for champions like Vayne and Tristana, who do use some spell damage but also have a lot of auto attacks. And then Martial Mastery, deal 5 plus damage straight up. And so if we go back here, and then we get 3 into here, this part opens up, which is the ability power one. So you pretty much put this, you get 8 free ability power, and Executioner, increased damage dealt champions before 20% health by 5%, so that's really good. So let's just throw one to there, and throw some to there, and we unlock the next tree. So, Blade Weaving. You only get this if you've unlocked Spell Weaving. Damaging an enemy champion with this spell increases your basic attack damage by 1%, stacking up to 3 times. So this cannot be triggered more than once a second. So that's pretty good. Next we have Warlord. Increases your bonus attack damage by 2%, just straight up. Next we have Archmage, which increases ability power by 2%. And if we have 3 into Executioner, we unlock Dangerous Game. Killing a champion restores 5% of your missing health and mana. So this is very good for very reset heavy champions like Mastery and Katarina. So let's do that, and let's throw 3 into Warlord, and 1 into here, and this unlocks next tier. Frenzy. Critical hits increase your attack speed by 5% for 3 seconds. Stacked up to 3 times, so that's usually the same. Devastating Strikes, 2% armor match penetration. So this is pretty good, but it's very late into the offensive page. And then Arcane Blade. Your base attacks also deal bonus match damage equal to 5% of your ability power. So that's as usual. And let's throw 3 into here, 1 into there. And finally, Havoc, 3% increased damage. So that's all we got for the offensive page. Let's move on to the defensive. Alright guys, time to look at the defensive page. So, Block. Reduces incoming damage from champion base attacks by 1 just straight up. So that's pretty cool. Recovery, 1 health regen per 5 seconds. So this would be actually pretty good for sustaining the laning phase. And Enchant Armor, increase your bonus armor mattresses by 2.5%. So that's really good for tanks. And Tough Skin, reduces damage from neutral monsters by 1. This is not affected by lane minions. Okay, so good. So if we put 2 in here, of course, and we put just 2 in anywhere else, we unlock Blade Armor. Enemy monsters that attack you bleed, dealing equal to 1% of their current health each second. So this is very good for junglers, of course. And now let's go back on that. If you also get 2 into Block, you unlock Unyielding, which means for melee champions, reduce all incoming damage from champions by 2, and for ranged by 1. And if we don't get into that, we just throw 2, 2, we unlock this one, Veteran Scars, plus 12 health, plus 12 health, and plus 12 health, for a total of 36. And then we need to throw one more in so we can unlock the next tier. So we're going to throw one into there. Oppression. Reduces damage taken by 3% from enemies that have impaired movement, such as slows, snares, taunts, stuns, etc. So this is very good for the CC heavy tanks like Leona and Nautilus. Next, we have Juggernaut, which, as usual, 3% maximum health. However, you don't need to put 3 points, only requires 1. And we have Hardiness, which gives 2 plus armor, and we have Resistance, which is 2 plus magic resist. So we're going to throw 3 into here and 1 to Juggernaut. Next, Perseverance. 1% of your missing health, or regen 1% of your missing health every 5 seconds. So this is sort of like, actually, it's the same name. This is Garen's passive, pretty much. However, Garen's passive is up to 7%, and I believe it's per second. So yeah, there's also Swiftness, which reduces effective by slows by 10%, and Reinforced Armor reduces damage taken by critical strikes. Now, if, however, we put 3 into Resistance, we unlock Evasive. Reduces damage taken by 4% from area effect damage. Alright, so if we throw these back into here, and we're going to get one, a few, and one, actually we don't need that. We unlock Runic Shield. Start the game with a 50 health shield. This shield regenerates each time you respawn. So this is actually very cool. I actually really like this. I think I'm going to end up using this a lot. So it really stops the early game poking from really getting you too hard. And every time you respawn, you get the shield back, which is actually fairly useful. But of course, more so in the early game. For 1 point though, I totally take that every time. Tenacious. 1 armor and 0.5 magic for each nearby champion for max of 4 and 2. And second win, increase all sources of incoming healing by 10% when below 25%. This is actually pretty good for people like Olaf who do more damage when they're lower health. I think this would be very viable if you're playing like that. You throw these into that. And finally, Legendary Guardian reduces the duration of crowd control effects by 15%. So this pretty much acts like Mercury Treads, but without the magic resist. So now we're going to go to the support page. Hey guys, welcome to the support page. Phase Walker reduces the casting time of recall by 1 second. So yeah, it's pretty useful, I guess. I wouldn't get anything into there though. I'm not really much a hate for recalling. Actually, I like to keep it at 7 seconds so I could recall with my 80 carry at the same time. Next, we have a Fleet of Foot. It gives you 0.5 movement speed. I actually really like this. This is pretty good for some movement speed champions. Then we have Meditation, which is 1 mana regen per 5. And then we have Scout, which increases the cast range of wards and relic items by 10%. So that means, you know that Hallelujah ward you gotta get over? You can cast it further, which is actually pretty good. So let's throw 3 into there, 1 to there, and next we unlock Conjurer. Summoned units and traps have 10% increased duration, however it does not use on wards. Summoner's Insight reduces the cooldown of summoner spells by 4% for a max of 10. And here we go, only unlockable by getting 3 into Meditation is Strength of Spirit. Gain health regen equal to 10% of your mana regen. This is pretty good if you get like a Chalice of Harmony, also gives you some sustain. Next we have Alchemist. It increases the duration of your potions and elixirs by 10%. This would be very useful for people who buy Oracle's elixirs a lot. So if we just do that, we're going to throw 1 into here, and I'll throw some into there. We have this Runic Affinity. Plus 5 gold every 10 seconds, and Greed increases the duration of Shrine, Relic, Quest, and Neutral monster buff by 20%. Then we have Vampirism, which is awesome, 1% lifesteal, and Spell Vamp. And then Culinary Master. Your health potions are upgraded into biscuits that restore 20 health and 10 mana instantly upon consumption. And let's throw 1 into there, we'll get a few into there, and 1 into there. We unlock these 3. Bandit. You get 40 extra gold on beginning of the game. Expanded Mind, you get plus 2% increased mana, which is actually fairly useful. And then Inspiration, plus 5 experience every 10 seconds while near a higher level ally champion. Actually, this is exactly like Nidlee's hidden passive, which you do gain experience from standing near her when she's higher level. This is very useful because supports who go around warding don't really get as much level, so it'll help them get back up. I really like this. And we didn't mention though, however, if we throw 3 into Runic Affinity, we unlock Wealth. 1 gold each time an ally kills a nearby lane minion. this could be very useful. It could generate around 300 to 1,000 gold per game, which is really good for only requiring really 4 points to get. So actually, I'll keep those, throw those into there. I'd probably get one of those, and I'd probably get some of those. And then we unlock Intelligence, which is 2% cooldown reduction and reduces the cooldown of activated items by 4%, which is really good. And if we throw one into there, and then we get 2 into there, we also unlock Scavenger. Melee, for melee champions, grants an additional 15 gold on champion kill or assist, and for ranged champions, you gain 3 gold each time you attack an enemy champion. You cannot trigger this on the same champion, however, more than once every 5 seconds. And then Intelligence, of course, you get the cooldown, so throw some into there. And finally, for the last one, Wanderer. You get 5% move speed out of combat, so this pretty much is free boost mobility, which is pretty good for what I said, warding. So that's how we got for these. I'll go back to the items later. Enjoy.